How's it going, friends? I am Cedric, and I need a haircut. So, a while back, I did a video on how to save money buying clothes. And after I uploaded that video, I thought,
Cedric, you haven't told them what they can save money on.
so that's what I'm gonna do in this video. We all love saving money, even the richest among us. They're like, I need more. We don't like spending money where we don't need to. And in this video, I am going to tell you about those
Juicy
items that you don't need to pay all that much for. So, let's dig in. I've made a list of 5 items, and the first one is socks. Especially if you're like me, they don't last very long. Maybe I have very pointy toes.
Pointy toe. That sounds like a character from a children's book. Ooh, business idea.
Maybe you've got pointy toes like me. No matter how good the quality is, no matter how expensive they are, after a few weeks, they will have holes in them. Even the expensive ones, even the ones of high quality, will still have holes in them. I don't really mind having holes in my socks, but yeah, you don't want to pay extra money for something that isn't really going to make a big difference. The second menswear item that in my opinion you can save money on is actually not a piece of clothing. It is fragrances. Let me explain. When you're starting out and you don't know all that much about fragrances, it's not a bad idea to stick with the more popular, common brands, Dior and Chanel, Paco Rabanne and things like that are still pretty expensive, but the more popular fragrances are still relatively cheap, not like the niche, very expensive fragrances. Now you might think,
hey, I don't want to smell like everyone else.
I also don't want to smell like everyone else, which is why now I'm going to tell you about my favorite fragrance. This one, Dior Eau Sauvage, is my favorite fragrance of all. Now I'm just selling someone else's product. But yeah.
It's nice.
Now the third menswear item that you can skimp on a little is white shirts. I love wearing white shirts. They go with everything, but it's difficult to keep them white. At some point, you will start getting those yellow stains. However, that doesn't mean you just walk into an H&M or a Primark or a Zara and buy the first white shirt you run into. Things you still want to look out for are how much polyester is in this. If there's a lot of polyester in it, you are going to sweat more easily, so still look for cotton shirts, linen shirts in summer, and you can still find those for a pretty good price. Something else you might want to look into, how big is the collar? I like a bit of a higher collar. With shorter collars, it generally doesn't look as nice when you're wearing a tie, for example. The third item of clothes you can skimp on a little in my opinion is scarves. As long as they keep you warm, that's really all that is necessary. No one can really tell the difference between a cheap scarf and a more expensive scarf. Okay, I admit a cashmere scarf is probably gonna be softer, and if you want that, go ahead and buy that cashmere scarf, but for me, that is not as important, so that's why I don't go for it. So the last 2 items you can save money on: ties and pocket squares. They don't really touch your skin, so it doesn't really matter all that much if the fabric isn't as soft or as comfortable. Things like that don't really matter for ties, and they definitely don't matter for pocket squares. For those reasons, I think you can definitely skimp on ties and pocket squares. However, when it comes to ties, you might find very shiny ties. That is something you want to avoid. They are the cheapest of ties, but they also look the cheapest of all ties. What I would advise you is a bit more texture so that it doesn't look as cheap, but matte ties like these really don't look cheap. So definitely think of more of a matte tie if you want to go for a cheap tie. No one can really tell the difference unless they are like experts or unless they come up close and they touch it. No one's gonna do that. I think you're pretty safe when it comes to buying a bit of a cheaper tie. As for pocket squares, well, a pocket square in the end, it's just a square of fabric. This one cost me 15 euros. It's still pretty cheap. There are pocket squares that are being sold for 100 euros, and I'm like, that's too much. Because in the end, it's gonna look exactly the same as this 15 euro pocket square. Now that I've put your wallet at ease, now that you can go out, well, you can't go out, now that you can stay inside and throw your money at online stores, you're very welcome. That was it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, ring the notification bell. That way my videos will come right to you as soon as I upload them. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can leave them in the comments section. That's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you later.